Welcome back to the 6th episode of this crazy build. I am on a mission to build an entire guitar from scratch with very limited materials, space and tools. Now I have seen this episode before and I can tell you it is amazing. In this episode we are finishing the DIY 3D printed tuners and it's been quite a hell of a journey. So stay tuned if you want to see how they turned out. Okay, so this was the most difficult part of the whole project. After what has been a crazy week trying to come up with a DIY tuning system and bridge, going from the metal ones to the 3D printed ones and trying to solve all the problems that come with designing for 3D printing, I think I have now come up with a design that is good enough for this purpose. So I will show you my prototypes. I'll print some parts, I'll put everything together, and hopefully by the end of this video we will have a functioning bridge and 3D printed tuning system. Now this is the prototype I came up with for the bridge. It does look like a normal bridge and it does the same things as a normal bridge would. You can set the intonation with this screw and you can also set the string height with this screw here. Now I'm using two brass threaded inserts in these saddles. I'm using one for this adjustment and I'm using one for this adjustment. And the string will still rest on this ball end that I got from some old strings. So all in all, this bridge design actually solves three problems. It solves the intonation problem, I can set it from here. It solves the string height problem, which I can set from underneath. And this also solves the grounding issue that I was worried about in the last episode, because all the strings have to be electrically connected to a common ground. Now in this case, they are all connected through the saddle to the screw underneath and to a brass plate that's gonna sit under the bridge. Where am I going to find a brass plate? Quite easy. I found a letterbox cover, which I'm gonna take apart and cut to size and just install under the whole thing. Now as this is a prototype, it was printed in PLA plastic, which is not the strongest plastic out there. I will go ahead now and print all the other parts in PETG. I'll prepare the saddles and the tiny screws on the back, and I will come back after I have a complete bridge. So the bits are printed, we now just have to put everything together. And we are now back with a finished bridge. Now you might have noticed that it is a different color than the one I was working on. This is because I actually decided against using PETG because of a couple of reasons. First, it is quite a difficult material to work with. It's quite difficult to print and it's quite difficult to get a nice finish. But the second reason, the most important one, is that it is a bit more flexible than PLA. Even though it's stronger, it is more flexible. And flexibility is the last thing I would want in a bridge or tuner. So I went with PLA. I still had a little bit of this nice bronze PLA and I decided to use this for now, and I went ahead and reprinted all the parts and put everything together. It does look very nice. I'm very pleased with this. So this is finished. I'm now going to show you the prototype I have for the tuners and I'll show you how I'm going to go about that. So the tuners were actually the most difficult part of this build. I've been through several designs and I now settled on one that seems to be working quite well. It is a 3D printed design and this is what I came up with for the tuning system. It is a very simple design. There is a screw here that when turned, it tightens a nut that is captive in this block, which in turn tightens the string, which is captive over here. Now the tuning peg is made out of this radiator key, which I just filed down so it's a bit smaller, and an M5 bolt, which I also filed down so that it fits the radiator key, and also drove a pin through both of them so I know everything is secure in there. Now this design seems to be working very well. Can basically tighten it by finger tension, and it does hold quite a lot of tension. What I found out was that the string broke before anything else cracked. The load is not on the plastic parts itself, it's mainly on these two brass bars that are on the sides. This also keeps the tuning saddle from twisting around. So yes, this is still a prototype, but I will now show you the design for the whole tuning system and how it all fits on the guitar. So let's go and take a look at that. So this is what everything looks like when it's put together. This is the bridge and these are the tuners. This will sit on the edge of the guitar instead of on the top of it. I have also angled the tuners a little bit so that the tuning pegs are easily accessible and you can turn them by hand. These are basically the same tracks that you saw in the prototype. The brass bars are gonna go in this slots over here and the tuning saddle will just go on top of each of these. There is also a brass bar over here which will keep all the strings coming from the bridge aligned. Now I really hope this design works. I'm gonna start printing this piece, and in the meantime, while it's printing, I'm gonna get going on the tuning pegs, and I will see you back when this is all printed and I will put it together. And there we have it. 1 tuning peg done, 5 more to go. I will do the other ones off camera because there's a lot of work and you definitely don't want to see all of that. And we are back. We have the tuning pegs all finished. We have the frame printed and we have the saddles printed. Now, I ran out of this nice bronze filament, bronze PLA, and I only had this one. It's not that bad, it will be fine for now. I might reprint it in another color later, but this should work for now. It is really sturdy. I'm very confident that this will hold up, so there is no risk of it breaking or cracking. Okay, so what we have to do now is clean it up and put everything together. And the last one. And the tuners are finished. I am incredibly happy with how this looks. I can only hope that they work as well as they look. I am very hopeful that they work well. I do have high hopes for them. They feel great. Everything is nice and snug. I will oil them just a little bit so everything runs a bit smoother. But the only real way to test it out is to put it on the guitar. We'll leave that for another episode. But for now, I am extremely pleased with what came out of this whole crazy week. This was indeed the crux of the project, but here we are. This is good. I'm really happy with this. And with that, it is now time to wrap up this video. It has been a crazy week, but we did get somewhere. We have a result. We have a DIY 3D printed tuning system and bridge. If you want to stay tuned to this build, please subscribe, like the video if you liked it. Thank you all for watching and I will see you next week.